Good day everyone, my name is Agbel from GIS. On today's tutorial I will be teaching you how to generate topographic map with the help of software. Before I get started, I've already got my system connected to the network, but the main focus point today will be using software, Google Earth, and an application called TCS. Then you are also going to use our browser. You might choose to use anyone you wish, but I'm using Google Chrome, the application. The first thing I'm going to do now is I will be launching my Google Earth. Once I launch my Google Earth application, it's launching, and I will need to create a path. Creating a path with the use of a path tools in Google Earth environment. After I've finished launching my Google Earth, what I'm not going to do now is that I will enter any location of my wish. Then let me say I'll be going to Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. It's loading. Yes, this is Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. Moshood Abiola Polytechnic is one of the first running polytechnic in the Southwest and is one of the best polytechnic in Nigeria. You can see now how, yes. Now what I'm going to do now is that I'm zooming into an exchange to a place that I prefer. Then what I'm going to do now is I'll be working within this perimeter, within this environment. Now what I'm going to do now is that the first thing I'm going to do now, like I said, we are trying to generate a topographic map. Then what I'm going to do now is I will click on my hard part. When I click on my hard part, then once it's come out, then what I'm going to do now is that I will maintain a, let me say, extensive distance between a point and another point. However, I'm very sure most of you might have been used have heard about leveling. One thing about leveling is that if you are using leveling to generate, to get an altitude of any place, they all normally go in a zigzag way. Then the one thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply that technique here to generate to use it as a path. Then what I'm going to do now is just I'll be making a point. Then it should be creating a track. As it's creating a track, then I cannot go in a way. You see, I'm going in a zigzag direction. Zigzag direction. I'm going up. Yes. Yes. Then I might wish to name this to anything you like, but I'm naming this on naming an alphabet Hey. Then I will now say okay. As you see now, I've already moved in a zigzag direction, that is it's in a transverse direction also. But most often one thing I try to do is that by the time I'm trying to generate my own contour line, and if I move in a zigzag direction in a transverse direction, I also try to go in a vertical direction also, whereby I might wish to uncheck the one I just created so that I can go in another way, in another direction. Then what I'm going to do is that, and I've already created a track in the transverse direction, and what I'm going to do now will go in a vertical direction now. You see. The more important thing is that you just ensure that you fall within the as you are creating the path, you ensure that it fall within the perimeter of the place that you needed to generate the topographic map. So I'm doing it now, you can see. Then I can also name this any name I wish. Then I will name it B. But yes, then now I can now hunt the first one I created, which is the first alphabet. Then you can see now the thing look like a knot or a mesh, anything you call it. But what I'm going to do now is that I will be saving this directly into on my desktop. Then what I'm going to do now is just I will click on it. Once I click on it, I'll right click. Once I right click, I'll now select save the place as. Once I select the save the place as, then I will look for a destination to keep the date. Then, however, I will need the part that I created from the Google Earth to be saved and in a save type as a KML. Then I can now say save as KML. Then I will save the second file as a BKML. Then now what I'm going to do now is that presently now I'm done using Google Earth. I don't know, because what I'm using Google Earth to do now is just to generate a path. Then as you are generating a path, you are creating a track. Then I've already created the track now. Then what I'm going to do now is that I need to update the altitude of each of these files that I created. But as you can see here, if you check here, well, you can see the altitude height and the elevation height, so all these attributes of each point that I put my cursor on. Then that shows that, but we can just admire it here, or you can just be looking at it and be writing it down. But I won't lie for you, it's a very tedious work to do because of the advancements of technology. Now many done many ways to make it simple, and that's why I'm going to now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to launch my Google Chrome. Don't forget I said we are using a browser also. Then if I launch my Google Chrome, however, there is one software before that we normally use to update our altitude, and the name of the software is called TCS Converter. But since the beginning of this year, I really don't know what is happening to the application. By the time we try to update the altitude, the thing is now giving on something an error, but which has been a difficulty since if we want to generate a topographic map. Then what we'll do now is let me just try for you so that you can see what I'm trying to say. Then I have don't forget that the two files that we saved the right time, these are the two files that we saved. Then I've already launched my TCS. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm loading in one after the other. Then let me just click on it, open. Then I'll click on the desktop so that I can penetrate into my desktop. Then okay, there's the A. Then click on A. I'll load in inside. Once I load in inside, if you check here now, you can set the time, the latitude and the longitude. Everything is in decimal degree. You can see the altitude now, the distance each point from one point as I created this. From each point to another point, that's the meaning of the distance, but it's not necessary. But that's why you must just use an instance whereby you are trying to make a rational distance from one point to another. Then you can see now, then I'm trying to use the TCS so that you can know that I don't know the reason why TCS converter stopped working. Then what I'm going to do now is just I'll click on my track mode modify. Under my track modifier now, then I can see update altitude. Once I click on update altitude, then I will press OK. And then you see what I'm seeing now. You said alt type or whatever. You can see that's where the order is. Then what I'm going to do now is that I'll close. I've already closed my TCS, and I will now go to the browser. Then there's something they call which your Google searches, or there's something they call GPS visualizer. GPS visualizer. The GPS visualizer is a website whereby you use to update your altitude of any given place. Once you get the coordinates, you will be able to use to generate the elevation. Then that's what I'm going to do now, and it's loading. As you can see now, I've already bookmarked the GPS visualizer. That's the reason. But you might wish to search Google Earth so that you can click on the gpsvisualizer.com. But we will be stopping here. We'll now continue from GPS visualizer. Bye for now. I still remember myself. My name is Topograghic from KGIS.